Hello everyone, this is Thomas from Zaxcom, and today I'm going to teach you a little bit more about the Nomad mixer recorder. Specifically today, I'm finally going to teach you how to record using your Nomad. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to start from the very beginning. I don't know if you've been watching all the other videos, but this time I'm actually going to restore the factory defaults of my Nomad, and I'm going to set it up for a job. This job is going to be like a reality show. We're going to have two wireless systems coming in on inputs 1 and 2, as well as a boom. And I'm going to show you how to set all that up to make sure that you're recording a mix track, as well as ISOs, and sending a stereo hop to a camera. So, if you haven't already done so, let's go ahead and turn on the Nomad. Now, like I said, I'm going to restore my machine to factory defaults, like I showed you in another video, because I want to make sure that you know that this is set up just like it came from the factory. When this process is done, it will tell you to restart your Nomad. So the next thing that we have to do is go in and actually format our primary card. So go to My Nomad, Primary Card, and Format Primary Card. Press the star key, and then press it one more time. After the primary card is formatted, go ahead and restart your machine. Once the machine is back up, let's go back into the My Nomad menu and primary card, and let's choose a primary folder. We'll go ahead and leave this at Z001. So let's go ahead and back out, and this time let's go to the Mirror Compact Flash Card menu instead. And let's format this card as well. And once the card is mounted, let's press back to exit. Ensure that folder to mirror is the same as your primary folder. And then turn your Mirror Compact Flash mode to on or continuous, whichever you prefer. So let's go ahead and back out to the home screen, and this time let's enter the Setup button. Now remember, in our example, we're going to use inputs 1 and 2 as our wireless inputs, and input 6 as our boom microphone input. So let's go ahead and press Setup again to switch it to channel 6. Make sure that the type is set to mic. If you want a limiter enabled, go ahead and flip that to on, and make sure that phantom power is enabled as well. By doing so, you should automatically start to see input level on the meter below. And if you need to adjust the trim, you may do so now. Now let's switch to inputs 1 and 2. Depending on the type of wireless systems that you're using, you may need to switch between mic and line. And if you'd like, go ahead and turn your limiters on for the input stage as well. Make sure that you do this for both of your inputs, 1 and 2. When you're done with that, go ahead and press the back button. And then, this time, press the bus button on the front of the screen. Let's scroll down to card mix 1 through 4. So the first thing that I want to do is set up a mix on the first row, which is going to allow me to mix post-fader inputs 1 through 6 plus slate and tone going to track 1. The next thing that I'm going to do is enable Ps for my inputs, so I have ISO tracks for inputs 1, 2, and 6. And this is what the screen should look like to enable a mix track on track 1, and then also isolated tracks for inputs 1, 2, and input 6. Press the back button when you're done. Now, let's go up to the output bus assign. We said that we were going to send a stereo hop out of outputs 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and set output 1 up as a post-fader mix of the inputs 1 and 2, which happen to be our wires. And out of output 2, let's go ahead and put a post-fader on input 6. This means that I will have the wires going to output 1 and the boom going out of output 2. Now, press the bus button one time so you can send slate and tone as well out of these outputs. Now that you're done with that, go ahead and press the back button. And again, and one more time to get back to the home screen. Now you'll notice that on the home screen, you're going to have up to 12 tracks of recording capabilities. Well, we don't need that many because we're only recording 4 tracks. So let's go ahead and disable all of those extra tracks so we're not wasting our record time. To do so, press the menu button, go to Record Enables, and let's get rid of 5 through 12. Now remember, because we disabled 5 through 12, that doesn't mean that we have to disable 5 through 12 on the mirror track. This is because in mirroring, it will only mirror the tracks that are enabled. Next, let's go ahead and label our tracks. That way we know what track is what. It will also help post-production. Go to ENG Setup and down to Track Names. If you don't remember how to do this, go ahead and go to the ENG menu video, which will tell you how to use this to label your tracks. So when you're done labeling your track names, you'll notice that 1, 2, 3, and 4 will say Mix, Wire 1, Wire 2, and Boom. And if I go ahead and back out to the home screen, you'll notice that they're labeled here as well. Next thing is go back into the ENG Setup menu and go to Limiter Enable. If you want any limiters on your card tracks for these inputs, as well as your outputs, go ahead and do so. So when you're done enabling your limiters, go ahead and press the back button, and one more time, and now let's go into the Mode menu. In the Mode menu, make sure that your sample rate is set for 48K. Then, back out, and make sure that you have pre-record turned on if it's something that you want to use. I generally set mine for about 5 seconds. Next, let's go ahead and go into the timecode menu so we can make sure our timecode is set up, and then we can jam a slate as well. Press the timecode button, and again, and let's go ahead and jam the date and the time. Excellent. Now, let's back out of this menu. The next thing that we have to do is make sure that our headphone monitoring is set up properly. So hold in the menu button and press the back button. For headphone 1, let's go ahead and set it so we're listening to the mix on card track 1. Then press the back button to go to the second headphone, and this time, let's go ahead and get rid of all of these X's and set it up so we're listening to output 2 in our right and output 1 in our left. Then, hold in the back button to go back to your home screen. Now, by pressing the back button, you'll be able to go between headphone 1 and 2. Also, remember that you can label your monitor names in the ENG Setup menu. If you need a little bit of a refresher on this, go ahead and watch the ENG setup menu as well as the headphone monitoring videos in order to get caught up. All right, everyone, we're getting extremely close to making sure that everything is set up properly in order to record. The next thing that we have to do, however, is make sure that our fader assigns are set up properly. So let's go ahead and press the menu button and go to Fader Assign. If your Fader Assign menu looks like mine, which is a staircase going from the upper left to the lower right, that means that your inputs are associated with your faders. Press the back button to exit, and once again to go back to the home screen. By now, if you have the wireless on the Talent, you'll notice that your isolated tracks are moving around. And by turning up the fader of any one of these, you'll notice that the mix will also start to bounce up and down. This is because all of your inputs are going to your mix track post-fader. But even with the faders all the way down, your isolated tracks are also going to be able to record something. This is a good test to do before you start a job to make sure that your routing is working properly. And finally, let's go ahead and set up some metadata for the file that we're about ready to record. So press the menu button and go to Metadata. Now, we're going to keep it on Edit Segment 1, so let's go to Scene. Now, the first file that I always like to record when I'm working is something called an intro ID. And this is a very good thing to do for post-production. It'll give them the information that they need to know where these files were recorded from, who recorded them, as well as your phone number and so forth. So go ahead and label it Intro ID and press OK. You'll notice that Take 1 is automatically placed into the Take information area, and then your notes are there as well. In the Notes field, I generally write Tone, just so they know that there is also tone for calibration if they need it. When you're done entering your metadata, go ahead and press the back button to go back to the home screen. And here we have it, everyone. Let's go ahead and, while keeping our faders down, press record, and now go ahead and slate your first take. Hello, everyone. This is Thomas from Zaxcom, and this is a test recording using a Nomad 12 mixer recorder. When you're done slating your take, go ahead and hold in the setup button and you'll hear tone going across these 4 tracks. So when you're done slating and you've put enough tone onto this track, go ahead and stop the recorder. This is also a very good time to check the output levels and calibrate your camera, because tone is not only going to the card track, but it is also going to your outputs. And then hold in the setup button to turn off tone. So now that we're done recording our intro ID and we've also calibrated the camera, let's go ahead and go back into the metadata and set up to actually record our first scene. Let's label this one Take 1. When your metadata is written in, go ahead and back out to your home screen. You are now ready to hit record and turn up your faders. Remember, don't forget to slate the beginning of your take using your slate button. Scene 1, Take 1. Now when you're done mixing this take, go ahead and press the stop button. If you have any questions, please contact us at www.zaxcom.com. Once again, my name is Thomas Popp, and congratulations on recording your first file on the Nomad.